Okay, welcome to MATH0011 Mathematical Methods 2. I'm Matthew Towers. I teach the first part of 0011. In the first 4 teaching weeks of 0011, that is, in the 4 weeks before Reading Week, you're going to learn to program in the computer language Python, and that's what I'm going to teach you. The remaining part of 0011 after Reading Week is taught by Professor Helen Wilson, and she'll give you instructions for that part of 0011 separately. This video is just about what you need to do in the Python part of 0011. So first of all, this course is aimed at complete beginners. We don't assume any prior knowledge of Python. We don't assume any prior knowledge of programming at all. Next, you don't need to install anything on your own computer in order to do this part of 0011, because all of your Python work is going to be done on a website called CoCalc. And I'm going to start this video by showing you how to get started with CoCalc. So you will receive an invite email to your UCL account from invites@cocalc.com. It looks something like this. Once you've received this email, you should click on the link where it says Open CoCalc right here. When you do that, it'll take you to a screen like this one. And here you need to create a new account. So you need to accept the terms of service and then fill in your name, choose a password, and fill in your email address. You must use the email address to which the invite was sent. If you don't do that, you won't be able to see the teaching materials for 0011. So I already have an account, and once you've got your account, you can fill in your login details at the top here and then just click sign in, and that'll take you into the CoCalc website. You have a paid for CoCalc account. UCL has paid for your account to upgrade it. If you see any parts of the website or any kind of messages telling you that you've got a free account and everything's going to run slowly, that's a problem. You've most likely used the wrong email address to sign up. Do not give CoCalc any money. UCL has paid to upgrade your account already. If when you log into CoCalc, you get to this stage and you don't see a Math0011 link here, then you've almost certainly created an account using the wrong email address. So again, you must sign up using the email address that the invitation was sent to, which is your UCL address. So let's click on this Math0011 link. It'll be your name instead of test student, and it'll maybe have a different group number here. But here's what will happen. It'll give you some error here. Here we go, and we're started. So you can see here we've got 2 folders in front of us, one called Assessed Exercises and one called Weekly Notebooks. That's because you're going to do 2 different things on CoCalc. But the first one I'm going to talk about is these weekly notebooks. So let's start by clicking on the Weekly Notebooks folder. There will be weekly notebooks each week, as the name suggests, so there's going to be a folder for each week. At the moment I've only put the week 1 notebooks here, but eventually there will be folders for weeks 2, 3 and 4. So let's click on that first week 1 folder. And here you can see there are 6 notebooks, parts 1 to 6. They're in a funny order at the moment, but if I click on the word name, that will sort them into the correct order. To open one of these notebooks, you just have to click on them. So let's open the very first one, since that's going to have the instructions to get us started. Let me just get rid of that chat thing. I'll talk about that in a moment. At the top of the notebook here are all the instructions you need to get started using these what are called Jupyter Notebooks. As it says, the way you interact with these notebooks is via using what are called the code cells. I'm just going to reset this notebook because I've been using it before, so it looks like it will look when you open it to begin with. And there we go. The way you interact with these notebooks is through clicking in these things called code cells. Those are the things with in and then square brackets to the left of them. In this first code cell that I've just clicked in, I've typed the simplest possible Python program, which just is working out the answer to 2 plus 2. If you want to execute the Python code or run the Python code in one of these cells, you click in them and then you press Shift and Enter or Control and Enter. So let's just do that. If I press Shift and Enter, it might take a moment the first time you do it, but then eventually it'll print out the correct answer. Let's try the second code cell here, which has the words the word print hello inside it. That's a Python function which will print the word hello on the screen. So again, I've just clicked in that code cell. I'm going to press Control and Enter or Shift and Enter, and you can see it does display hello on the screen. So that means everything's working okay. So what you need to do with these notebooks is simply read through all the text and follow the suggestions in the text, execute the Python code, and get a feel for what's going on and how you can do things in Python. The material in the notebooks is similar to what's found in the lecture videos, which as usual you will find on Moodle. There are also, as well as some explanation and suggestions, there are also some unassessed exercises at the end of most of these notebooks. I strongly recommend doing these unassessed exercises because, like mathematics, coding, writing Python code is a skill which you can only learn by doing it. I'll publish solutions to these unassessed exercises after the week is over. The work you do in these notebooks is automatically saved, so every few minutes the work you've done in the notebooks will be saved, and so when you return to these notebooks, you'll be able to carry on where you left off, and you won't have lost any of the things you did before. If you want to save your work manually, like if I make a few changes in here, then you can do it by clicking on the green Save button like this. If you go to click on the green Save button and you see this, that means it's already been saved, so it's been automatically saved already. Okay, let's see how to get on to the next notebook. So we've reached the bottom of the first notebook. Let's see how to get back to the second part. One of the things you can do is just click on the Files link at the top here. So that will take you back to the start screen where you saw the two menus for assessed exercises and weekly notebooks. A better thing to do is just click on the little X here to close this notebook, because when you do that, it'll take you to the last folder you were looking at, which was the Week 1 weekly notebooks. So if you wanted to go to the next part, you could just click on Week 1 Part 2 here. On the other hand, if you want to browse back to the start, so you can go and look at your assessed exercises, you can click on the little home icon right here. That'll take you back to our root folder where you've got the assessed exercises and the weekly notebooks. Let's go into the assessed exercises. Again, there's one of these for each week, so eventually there will be a folder for Week 1, Week 2, Week 3 and Week 4. At the moment I've only added the Week 1 assessed exercise. If we go in there, you can see the file, the notebook file for the first assessed exercise. So let's click in there. Each week you have to do one assessed exercise. This counts towards your module mark, so it's essentially you do these. They each have a deadline. You can see here the deadline for this one is at the top of the assessed exercise. What the assessed exercise has is some instructions and some places for writing code. So for example, this one has two parts. In the first part, you're given a mathematical function here, and you're asked to implement a Python function which computes the values of that mathematical function. Once you've done the weekly notebooks, the sections of the weekly notebooks about functions and about arithmetic, you'll be ready to attempt this. You need to enter your answer here. I think when you do it, it'll actually come with a little comment here saying your code here, telling you where to put it. And in the next cell, there is a cell for testing the function you've written. So once you've had a go at writing this, there are some test cases in the next cell. And if you execute the next cell, it will try out your function for you and tell you what the outputs should be. So if you get the answers you expect, you get the answers that the cell is telling you to expect, then your function is working okay. At least it's working okay in those test cases. Of course, that doesn't mean it works for all possible inputs. Just like for the other weekly notebooks, your work is automatically saved, but if you want to save it manually, then if it's not already been saved, you can do it by clicking on the green Save button at the top. When you've finished your assessed exercises, you don't need to do anything at all. You don't need to submit it anywhere, you don't need to email it, you don't need to do anything. It will be automatically marked by the CoCalc system after the deadline is over. Your mark will appear in the assessed exercises folder. I'll tell you how to find it after the first one's been graded. Okay, let's return to the weekly notebooks. So I'm going to go here, then I'm going to click on the home link to take me back to the start, then in the weekly notebooks, into the week 1 folder, and back into our first notebook. I'm doing this because I want to talk about the computer classes that you have for MATH0011. You can log into CoCalc to work on your weekly notebooks and your assessed exercises anytime at all. However, you're going to be allocated a specific computer class time during which people will be available to help you. I've sent you an email telling you when that class time is. During the class time, the way you can get help is by using the CoCalc chat function. Click on the icon at the top, so there's a chat bubble and the word chat, and it will open up the menu that you maybe saw when I first opened this notebook. So here you have a chat window, just like an instant messaging program, and you can type in the text area at the bottom here to ask for help. So you can type help there and you can click on the green button. It'll send this message, and during your class hours there'll be someone logged in who can see these chat messages. When they see those messages, and it might take a little while for them to get to you because there'll be lots of people in your class and maybe some of them asked for help before you did, so you might have to be a little bit patient, but when they reach your message, they'll be able to talk to you through the chat function and also to see the notebook that you're working on. So when they access this chat function, they can see the notebook you're working on, they can see what you're doing. So they'll be able to help you with whatever the problem is. You can also use this chat function to ask for help in the assessed exercises. So every file on CoCalc has its own chat function. If you use the chat function in the file you need help with, whether that's an assessed exercise or a weekly notebook, then the person talking to you will be able to see what it was you were working on. When you're asking for help, you need to be specific because the TA can see the file you're working on, but not precisely which bit of the file you're working on. So if you notice, just looking at the right of these code cells here, each one has a number. So for example, if you don't understand what's going on in code cell number 14, you can ask in the chat box, can you please help me with code cell number 14? I don't understand what's going on with there. And that's a good way to tell whoever's going to be helping you exactly which part of the notebook you need help with. Okay, that's how to use the chat function here. Again, please only use this during your assigned class time. If you want to make it go away so you get the full screen back, you can just click on the chat link again and it'll disappear. Okay, let's go back to Moodle. I'm going to go through now all of the things that you need to do in the Python part of Math0011. Number 1 is to watch the lecture videos on Moodle. So here we are on the Moodle page. If you scroll down to the part for week 1, here are the videos for week 1. In the future, there'll be videos for further weeks as well. Second, you need to do the weekly notebooks on CoCalc. I've already showed you how to do that. And again, if you need help with those, you can log on during your class time and use the chat facility. So let's go down to week 1 again. You can see I've put the instructions at the top here. The other thing, or the next thing that you need to do, is to do the assessed exercises on CoCalc. And again, those are really important because they count towards your Math0011 mark. So you must do those. Again, if you need help with them, you can log in during your assigned class time and use the chat function in your assessed exercise notebook to get help with that. Finally, towards the end of the Python part of Math0011, you're going to do a short Python project. Again, you must do these. They're important because they count towards your grade. I will give you more information about those nearer the time. You need the things that you're going to learn in these first 4 weeks in order to be able to do those projects. So I'm going to wait until the end of this part of 0011 before I send them out. There is also an optional office hour in Math0011. As usual, this is done by Zoom. The Zoom link is at the top here. The office hours happen on Mondays from 9 till 10 GMT, starting on the 18th of January, and they happen every week up to reading week. You can come along any time during that hour and ask me any questions at all you've got about 0011 or about Python. Okay, that's it for this introductory video. I'll be in touch with more information about projects later on. Until then, I hope you enjoy Python, I hope you enjoy Math0011, and I'll maybe see you in my office hours.